All right. Well, once again, I want to thank everyone for joining us today. This is our weekly training webinar. This is number 8 out of 12 that we are going to be going through today. Now, this particular one is another important one. Again, we're getting into a lot of training, in-depth things. A lot of this is the psychology behind network marketing, behind marketing in general, the psychology of working with other people in a business situation. So today what we're going to cover is effective motivation versus hype motivation. Now, there is a difference between the two, and I'm going to show you the reasons, the pros and cons of each one. Many times people, when they are selling an opportunity, when they are selling a business or any type of thing where they want you to come on board with them, people have a tendency to put information out there that seems a little unbelievable, seems a little fantastical. And if it's done within the right confines of what you're doing, it can motivate people. They get excited about it. But there's a problem with that when it's not based in the reality of what your opportunity can offer. And that's what we're going to get into today, is showing people the right kind of motivation and how to steer away from the wrong kind of motivation that will have short-term effects and no longevity. So, again, this one's titled Effective Motivation versus hype motivation. So let's get started here. Successful motivation from 50 plus years of experience. Now, this is information that we have gathered throughout Mike's experience in network marketing, throughout professional networkers' experience in network marketing, and that's what we're going to cover first. See, motivation is important in network marketing because motivation can empower someone to achieve their absolute best. However, sometimes the wrong kind of motivation can lead to attrition and loss of income for you. Now, for those of you not familiar with the word attrition, or in this particular context, we're talking about people that don't stick around, people that get involved in a company and kind of fade out. So they attrition out, they kind of lose their motivation and they don't stick in there. Okay, the industry has a lot of attrition due to all kinds of various factors, but a loss of motivation is one of those. Now, ineffective motivation can demotivate and even lead to unbelief in oneself and in your opportunity. In this training session, I will discuss two categories of motivation: hype motivation and effective motivation. Empowering motivation, which would be effective motivation, isn't just for distributors in your business, but it's also for prospects. So let's start on how hype motivation can destroy prospects in this situation. Okay, so hype motivation, what is it? How does it work? Hype motivation generally includes exaggeration. Okay, each person has a range of what they are capable of and what they're capable of believing or connecting to. Now, here's a couple of examples of hype motivation. Earnings exaggerations, okay? They have two different effects on prospects. One, when you exaggerate what a person can earn outside of their range of belief, the person may not believe you, and you lose the prospect and they do not enroll, okay? This is one of those things where you tell someone, hey, you get involved in this and in 60 days you're going to be making $25,000, $35,000 a month, okay? There's an old saying that if something sounds too good to be true, it generally is, okay? For someone to go from no network marketing experience, no information about how the industry works, and you're going to try and tell them that in 3 months or less that they're going to be making $25,000 a month, that's not something that's going to happen. It's not something that even happens in the industry very often. That is a best case 100% scenario, and even in best case scenarios, that doesn't happen most of the time. So when you exaggerate what a person can earn outside of their range of belief, you've already lost them. They don't want to listen to you if you're going to tell them fantastical things that they know the chances are slim to none that they'll ever achieve that. Now, here's the other side of it. Let's say that you post something to them that is within their range of belief, but still a little bit on the high end of things. Well, if they do believe you because you're so convincing, there's a very good chance that the person will eventually get discouraged when they don't experience what you exaggerated to them about. So again, let's say you make that a little bit more attainable to them. And instead of saying in 3 months you'll make $25,000, let's say that you tell them in 3 months you can make $5,000. Okay, not completely, you know, false. I mean, there are people that in that time have made that kind of money. There are people currently in that period of time that are making that kind of money or very close to that. So that's something that is attainable, but it's still, I wouldn't be telling people that in 3 months you're going to be making that kind of money. I would tell them that, given time and given your experience and given your aggressiveness with marketing, you may be able to first start off. Your first step is going to be paying for your own product. In other words, making enough money that your product is a wash. You're not out any money from your product purchase. That's covered because of the commission you get in. The second step would be making a few $100s to have not only your marketing or your qualification expense made, but also to cover your marketing expense. So I would motivate people and give them information on what is attainable, but I would also make it realistic and show them the different steps, which we talked about in one of our previous training sessions, is about goal setting, realistic goal setting, and that's something that's realistic. A person can start off and say, well, within, X amount of days or whatever, your first goal shouldn't making sure you do it in a certain time, but should be your first goal is let's get your product covered. Okay, now your product's covered, let's work on getting enough people in that not only your product's covered, but all of your marketing costs are a wash. So now you've created an environment where now your marketing in this opportunity costs you nothing out of pocket. Okay, you're not making a profit on it yet, but now you've broke even. You're not losing any money each month as you do this business. Now the next few people that you get in are all going to be profit, whether that's $2 or $3 a month, whether that's $25 a month, whether that's $100 a month. Once you've reached that point, you're on your road. Okay, so it's important that as you do this, you understand that you don't want to exaggerate things to a point that it becomes unbelievable or unattainable. All right? The next step here is time exaggeration. Again, this is covering hype motivation. These are things that we do to try to motivate our people. We're trying to force them into growth. We're trying to force them into building, okay? So time exaggeration is when you tell them that they can earn a certain amount in a certain range of time. Now, the person can become discouraged when that time comes and goes and they have not yet achieved what you told them. Okay? When you put something in a time frame like that, that's a lot of extra pressure to them. Yes, it can be motivating to an extent, but now you've put them inside this box that if they can't achieve it in this particular time, they're going to feel like they failed. They're going to lose motivation because they feel like, well, if that was what I was supposed to do and I couldn't do it, this may not be for me, okay? You don't want to set people up for failure. And when you exaggerate time restraints like this, or you put people in a certain box to achieve it in this a certain amount of time, you're actually setting them up to be discouraged, okay? Everyone has different levels of experience. Everyone has different levels of motivation. Everyone has different pros, cons, and talents that help them to make these goals a reality, okay? You may be able to remotivate them. But again, if you use exaggerations of time, eventually they will become permanently discouraged and drop out. So let's say they don't make that first time frame. Let's say that you motivate them, hey, in 90 days, let's get you to $1,000 monthly on your income, okay? $1,000 within your first 90 days. Let's say that they hit a bad time of the year. They're in the summer, which summer typically here in the States is a tough time to get a hold of people. Everyone's traveling. They're at the lake. They're gone out of state. They're doing things with their family. The kids are off school, so they're trying to keep everybody busy. It's just a really crazy time. Let's say your 90 days happens to fall right over summer, when people are the hardest to get a hold of, people are hard to get commitments out of because they're putting their money into recreation. If you give them that and they get through it and they don't meet that goal, but you're able to convince them to keep going, you're able to convince them to get started again, if they fail that second goal, it becomes increasingly discouraging. and it makes it harder for them to stick with it, and eventually they will drop out. Sometimes this attrition will not only affect them, but it will affect other individuals either below them in their group or above them as an upline, and cause a chain reaction of attrition. This is what you do not want. You do not want a domino effect, a chain reaction of attrition within your group. Because what happens is once that starts, it begins to spread. And people say, well, I had a group of 20 people, and 15 of them consistently purchased product, and I was consistently getting commission off of them, and then a couple of them got discouraged and left. And so now I'm losing money. Now I'm not in any profit. Why should I keep going? That's what can happen on the upper end, like your upline. Downline from you, if people underneath you, if you've set goals, you're not making them, it also can affect them psychologically to think, well, my upline is a great guy, great marketer, doing great. He's having a tough time. How am I supposed to do any better? Because, he's supposed to be the person that's teaching me how to make this all happen. So there's an effect on both individuals above you in your upline and below you in your downline that can cause a chain reaction of attrition. Now, what's another thing about hype motivation? Exaggerating the level of difficulty. Now, what does this mean? What we're talking about here is exaggerating the level of difficulty of what it's going to take to be successful, what it's going to take to get into that good money, what it's going to take to get you at the goal that you're looking for. Okay? It's very demotivating when someone says, oh, this is easy money. We're going to get into this and we're just going to take off. You're going to be making money before you know it. You're going to be rolling in the dough. All you got to do is do X, Y, and Z, and boom, you're making money. Okay, when you exaggerate how easy it is to reach goals of income, the same result as the other forms of exaggeration will take place. Now, what I mean by that is this. When you exaggerate how easy it is, people will become discouraged when they don't reach that, much like they did with the time exaggeration or the exaggeration of income potential. Okay, when people don't reach those goals, they lose motivation. See, motivation and goals go hand in hand, but they're actually two exclusive things of themselves. You have to have motivation to push you to reach a goal, but you have to have a goal, and that helps to motivate you. So they are yin and yang, okay? But when you exaggerate how easy it is for people to reach their goals of income, you're actually setting them up for discouragement. Because what's going to happen, and this, again, I'm talking about this in the general sense. There are those exceptions out there. There are people out there that get started, and man, it's just like the planets align, and everything works great for them, and they make money quickly. They get a big group quickly. They get other leaders that are just solid and want to keep building. But when you exaggerate how easy it is, the average person, especially those who have never done network marketing, it's going to be harder for them to reach their goals than what you may be telling them. Okay. Excuse me. And as a result of that, you'll find discouragement, you'll find attrition, you will find, in some cases, just a very negative outlook and very negative attitude towards the industry in general. I'm sure many of you have spoken with people who have tried a business opportunity that they were sold, that someone gives them all this great information of how great this is going to be, how much money they're going to make, and how this is going to be easy living. They try and try and try and try and try. They fail. They never even break even. They never get to the point where they're making any money at all. And I talk to people on a daily basis that this has happened to more than once, and they're burnt out. They're done with the industry. They are looking for home-based business, but they don't want to do this type of home-based business. They're looking for something simpler that's more of a guarantee. The reason this is because of these factors here. People they're sold a bill of goods that they just cannot ever live up to. Okay, so this is why hype motivation and exaggerating these different points that I just mentioned, that's why these things are extremely dangerous when you're dealing with your prospects and with your distributors. Okay, exaggerating these to prospects to get them to sign is one thing, but now that they're your distributor, now it's not a sales job. Now you have to put your money where the mouth is, and you have to show them that what you told them to get them signed up can be a reality. And more times than not, when you exaggerate to that extent, it's hard to help them to live up to that. All right? Now let's look at effective motivation. Okay, we've determined that hype motivation has a lot of drawbacks, a lot of pitfalls. Now we're not saying that you should not have goals. We're not saying that there shouldn't be things that people strive for. Obviously, those things are important, but it's how you do it that is going to ensure that you have a strong group and that you have a strong mindset within the group to train people to set goals and to have the right kind of motivation to keep them moving forward, to keep them excited and moving forward in your business. So let's take a look at effective motivation. The best approach in motivating your people is to involve your prospect and your distributors in the process. Ask them questions and keep your motivation within their ability to believe. Okay, this goes back to the first one on hype, in that we don't want to make this so unbelievable that they can't believe it. I mean, it's all said right there. What you want to do is keep the motivation that you're giving them to move forward within their realm of belief. Use broader ranges of potential income and the time it may take and how easy it is. Again, your potential income, your time restraints, how easy. Effective motivation deals with those things in a realistic manner, and it gives people the opportunity to feel as though they are in fact capable of reaching goals, and it keeps them motivated to move towards that. Okay? The motivation is what keeps them moving on a day-to-day basis. The goal is an end thing, okay? But what gets them out of bed every day, what gets them moving, they have to be motivated towards that goal to do that. Another thing with effective motivation, use testimonies that apply to the range of possibilities. Okay? Don't just use top-end testimonies. I'm going to give you some examples of what I mean by this. Okay? Testimonies can be very powerful, but if you only go to the best case scenario and that's all you bank on when you're talking to someone, then it creates, again, an air of disbelief in them. So don't just use top-end testimonies, the 1%. For example, don't use top earners. Use people who are making $500 or so, something that's attainable, and how that helps to relieve some of their financial stress. Okay? Talk to them. Don't talk to them about summer homes and every person in the car in the family having a luxury car. Don't talk to them about owning your own island. I mean, those are things that are on the top end of things. Talk to them about just earning $500 extra a month. Being able to cover that high utility bill during the summer. Talk to them about having a few hundred extra dollars to be able to take their family on a road trip. Talk to them about relieving some of the financial stress because they have another source of income. These are things that are realistic. These are within the range of possibility. These are things that are very attainable. Therefore, it motivates them to go for it because they believe they can do it. They believe this is within their scope to do that. Then, on the other hand, you do want to explain about people like Juan Rosado, who is in our company, who earns over, roughly $250,000 US a month. Show how someone can take 10 years to reach $10,000 per month while someone else develops $250,000 a month at the same amount of time. Show them the range. Make it a broad spectrum. Don't make it all about that $250,000, that $150,000, that $10,000. Make it about the $500. Make it about the $100. Make it about the $50. Make it about things. Show them steps in the process that will get them to those big numbers, but don't just give them the big numbers and tell them that's what they're going to be. Some people, the minute you mention those big numbers, that's all they're going to focus on. I've had that happen. People, you say, well, what kind of money are people making? And I'll tell people, there's people out there who are just covering the cost of their product. There are people out there who are breaking even. They're covering their product, covering their marketing expense, and they're happy because they get a great product and it's no money out of their pocket. Then I say, but there's people who are making a couple $1,000s a month. enough to replace a full-time income, and so they're doing this instead of working for someone else. Then you have people on the broad end of the spectrum that are making over $250,000 monthly. You have people in the middle that are making $100,000, $150,000. You have people making $10,000, $20,000, $50,000 a month. Don't make it so finite that either they're going to make the big money or they're not. Give them a range that is believable, a range that was within their grasp. Another thing on effective motivation, don't exaggerate the talents of your distributors. Okay? What this is about patronizing people. Okay? Ask questions about their employment. Get to know them. Get to know their strengths, their weaknesses. Pick out real things that you see about them and emphasize their talents and abilities according to the reality of what they're doing. In other words, don't exaggerate someone like, wow, you are a really great speaker. I bet you could speak to thousands of people, and you can probably sign up out of every 5 people you talk to. I bet you sign up at least 1 or 2 of those people. Okay, now you're creating this false patronization of what they're capable of. And you're feeding their ego, you're getting them puffed up. But the problem is that chances are that's not the truth of what's going on. But when you can ask them questions about their employment, you can ask them questions about who they are, about their experience, and get to know them, then you can make comments, you can make motivational things about the reality of who they are and what they can accomplish. And they'll see that. I mean, how many of you have ever had someone patronize you and you can see right through it? You know that they're trying to get you to do something, or they're trying to get you on their better side by embellishing something about you, by creating this false idea of exactly who you are or how talented you are. We all know our abilities. We all know, the scope of them, and we know that we can be pushed past those, but we all know on a day-to-day basis where we sit in this whole equation. Another thing, let's keep on moving here. Effective motivation. Don't use negative motivation on your distributors. I relate this right away because I love being in the gym, and I love working out. I love trying to be healthy. I love pushing myself, into, that elite group where, not just everyone's going to be doing it. Not everyone's got the stick-to-itiveness to get in there and do some of the things I do in the gym and such. So I relate this to that. When someone says, man, you are fat, you need to get in the gym, that does nothing to motivate someone. When someone says, man, you are really weak, you really need to, you need to be coming in here 2 or 3 times a day because you're just, wow, I really thought you were stronger than that. Okay? That doesn't work. Okay? Some people, they get this idea in the back of their head, well, I'm going to prove you wrong. Okay, and there have been times that that's happened to me, but generally speaking, when that thought enters your mind that I'm going to prove them wrong, it's because you understand that they're not seeing you at your best already, and you know you've got more you can offer. But what if a person is unfamiliar with the environment they find themselves in, and they really have no clue if they can do this or not, and then all of a sudden you're telling them, you don't work hard enough. You're too lazy to get anywhere. You've got to do better than this. Okay. When someone tells you that and you're out of your element already, there's a tendency in the back of your mind to think, well, they've been in this industry. They know what it takes. If they really don't think I have what it takes to do it, and they're telling me this, maybe they're right. Perhaps this isn't for me. Maybe I'm not cut out for this type of thing. So you don't want to use negative motivation on your distributors. Telling your distributors they're not working hard enough, or that they're lazy, or they can do better. Those are all examples of negative motivation. A lot of times people refer to this also as reverse psychology. The thing is, very seldom does this kind of motivation work, and very seldom, if it does work, does it work over a long period of time. It's a short-term motivation, short-term thing to get them moving. What's another thing on effective motivation? Find ways to encourage and empower a distributor in a positive way. Here's an example. If John told me that his goal was to become a presidential diamond, then what you would say is, John, you told me that your goal was to become a presidential diamond. I believe that you have the potential to accomplish this. I've known individuals with your ability, and they accomplished it. So that's a way to encourage and empower a distributor in a positive way, because he's not a presidential diamond yet, but that's his goal. And you see the talents and the potential within him to accomplish that. So that's what you compliment. That's where you motivate. You push him. You support him and say, hey, I believe you can do this, buddy. I'm going to be right there with you, help you through this, but I believe you have the talent, you have the skill set to do this. I've seen people just like you with your mindset, your skill set, that have accomplished it. You're going to do it as well, okay? Now, here are steps I've seen individuals take in order to accomplish this goal. Okay, I forgot that. That's added to what I just said, okay? Not only do you know people that have their ability and accomplish this, but you can motivate them by offering them steps to take in order to accomplish that goal. Okay, so these are things you can do. Not only now have you encouraged them, have you supported them, but now you're giving them the motivation to take the next step by saying, here's some steps I've seen individuals just like you take in order to accomplish this goal. Now, another example would be to say, hey, John, I noticed you've been working very hard, man. How do you feel about your accomplishments? Now, a lot of times people say, well, I don't feel like I'm getting what I expected or what I need. Well, then that's when you can say, you know what? Let's try a different strategy. Let's look at what you're doing. Let's break it down. Let's see what other strategies or what other possibilities there are that we can try different. Maybe this one's just not working for you. You know, you're a hard worker. It's no fault of your own. Let's find a strategy that does work. All right. And last, some final thoughts, and then we'll go into our Q&A session. If anyone has any questions, just a reminder, you can put them in the chat section now. You don't have to wait till the end here. But if you have questions, feel free and put them in there. So final thoughts, all right? Motivating your distributors and keeping them motivated is vital for your growth in your business and in theirs. Showing your distributors their value and showing your appreciation for their contribution to the team is, in and of itself, motivating. Now, different people respond to different things, and what motivates one may not necessarily motivate another. This is why incentives aren't always the answer either. You know, a lot of times people say, well, if I just give them an incentive, if I just dangle the carrot out there, then, boy, everyone in the group, they're going to respond. They're going to respond. Some will respond. Absolutely, they will. But others are going to say, you know, that carrot looks good, but, man, it's a ways out there. I'm nowhere near, you know, even being within shooting distance of what I need to make that happen. So it doesn't always motivate people to have an incentive, regardless of how nice the incentive is. Okay? However, everyone wants to feel valuable and appreciated. A kind word to your distributors, a little praise, can go a long way. Now, as stated before, don't patronize your distributors, but rather speak words of truth of their accomplishments and their work ethic. These are things you can control. When people are motivated correctly, they can achieve far greater than their perceived potential. Now, what that means is that have you ever done something and you find someone that just really motivates you to really push and to really make something happen? And then when you do accomplish it, you realize that you went way above and beyond what you ever thought you were capable of. You went way above and beyond what someone looking at your skill set would even dream that you would be capable of. That's what that means, is that when people are motivated correctly, they can achieve far greater than what their perception is of their potential. You know, no one really knows their full potential, because we can all, you know, be pushed and be motivated and set goals that push us far beyond our limits. And the correct motivation can help you achieve that and can help push you further than those perceived potentials. So let's motivate our teams to be the best. Now, I know there's several teams on here right now today. We've got some from a lot from all over India, speaking different languages and in different areas geographically of India. We also have people from Africa on the line here. We've got teams from literally all over the world right now who are listening to this. So let's motivate your team and your people to be the best by doing this correctly, by laying this out so that they have effective, realistic things to motivate them to move forward and keep them moving in that right direction. How great would it be that each one of your individual teams in the different areas that they're in are the best ones in that area? Okay, that's again, we talk about effective goal setting. That's a great goal first. Let's first get everyone in Siliguri. Let's be the best team in Siliguri. Let's be the best team in Delhi. Let's be the best team in Kerala. Let's be the best team in Bangalore. Let's be the best team, in Mumbai. Let's be the best team, in Punjab, wherever. Let's go all over and let's have teams in all these areas be the best team in their area. And then their next goal, the next step, is let's be the best team in all of India. Let's be the one that everyone knows where we come from. Everyone knows who we are. Okay? Those are motivations and goals that you can set and motivate people to do that. The goal is to be the best in your area. How do you motivate them? By showing them that you can be the best, by teaching them and supporting them and giving them the tools and systems they need to be able to achieve that. In Africa, same thing. Let's be the best team in Nairobi, or in all of Nairobi, starting in Kenya. Let's be the best team. I have people in Ghana. Let's have people in Nigeria. Let's have people in Sudan. Let's have people in Morocco. Let's have all over Africa that become the best teams or cells, if you will, in those particular areas. Then the next one, after you've created that, let's be the best team in all of Africa. The entire continent. Let's show everyone that we're the team to be. You want to be on our team, okay? So you can use it as a means of creating motivation. Here's the thing: competition can be great for motivating, but here's the problem with competition in network marketing. We're all working for the same company. We're all working for the same end goal. And competition sometimes can create tension between teams. That should not be. We're all working on the same goal. Whether you're the best or you're second best or not, it doesn't mean that you should tear each other down. You should always encourage, always help those distributors, show them appreciation, show them their value, show them that they are part of the team, and because they are, it's a better team. Okay? So that's going to conclude our session for today, and I hope that was helpful. I believe that in looking at this, sometimes it's very tricky to keep your people motivated, and people try different tactics, and again, I believe that when people use hype tactics, it's very short-lived. It doesn't last over the long haul. But when you can show people the correct way to motivate, and you can show people their value and what they mean to the team, show that they're appreciated, show that their contribution is appreciated, then what you will find is you will find a stronger team, and you will find people that will continue to stick around and continue to build even when times get tough. And that's what you're trying to create, is a solid team, a team of people who are motivated to move towards, a common goal. And that's what you will find when you use these particular points and elements in your motivation. So again, today's session has been about hype motivation versus effective, realistic motivation. So I don't see any questions in the chat section, but let's go ahead and go back to the top of the what's going on here? All right. Let's see here. Okay, well, at this point, that will conclude our training session for this Wednesday. Again, I want to thank everyone. I've seen a lot of people on here, some new names and people popping on, and I appreciate that. That shows that again, our groups are growing. People are are staying tied in and staying in with our group and continuing to try and move forward. And I appreciate that. I appreciate every one of you guys out there. I'm anxiously awaiting the orders for me to be heading back over to India. I'm waiting to see our group continue to grow there in Africa and get the orders to head back to Africa. I'm looking forward to meeting all of you again face to face and helping you in building your business through meetings and through training sessions one-on-one. So I want to thank everyone for being on these training calls. These are an important tool for you. Not every group out there, not every distributor out there will share this kind of information. And we wanted to make sure that we had a place where we could bring this type of training, this type of in-depth marketing experience, marketing information to you so that you can understand not only the logistics of marketing these types of opportunities, but also so you could understand the psychology of it. There is a lot of psychology in marketing, and what's funny is it correlates so closely with principles and things of success in just daily life, in your life as an individual. A lot of this information we came through today about motivating, empowering people, that also can be applied to, families and children and things like that, to where you motivate people to be a better version of themselves by offering these different things. So, again, I want to thank everyone for being on the webinar today, and I just appreciate all that you guys are doing out there in the field, and we will talk to you again very soon. Don't forget that Friday morning we will have our normal presentation, our opportunity presentation, at this same time on this same webinar meeting room. So I look forward to talking to you all then. And I just want to thank you again for being on the line and for being part of the webinar. It's because we have you out there that we're going to continue to bring this training. As the weeks go, more and more numbers of people are getting on here, and I truly appreciate that. I do see it. I do notice it, and I want to say thank you to everyone. But at this time, I want to thank everyone once again for taking time in their evening to come on this training call, and we appreciate everything you're doing out there, and I wish you all a great evening. I will talk to you again on Friday. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a great night.